Today, I'll be showing you my favorite macrame knots. Some assembly required. Hi, how are you? I thought that it might be useful to make a video where I show you all of the knots that I use in my macrame projects. Now, keep in mind that I'm definitely not an expert and I'm sure I don't know all of the knots. These are just the ones that I use the most often. So I think that you can combine them into kind of a lot of different projects. I was also thinking that each knot might be kind of cool as its own short video, so let me know in the comments if you would be interested in that sort of thing, and I'll make it. In this video, I'm going to be showing you lark's head knots, square and spiral knots, wrap knots, and half-hitch knots. That's really all I use. I'm sure that there are really exciting knots, and if there are some that I should learn, please tell me in the comments because I don't know. I just do what I know. So let's go ahead and make some knots. Here is what I will be using today. 4mm cotton macrame cord, a stick to attach it to, tape to secure the stick to the table, a ruler, and some scissors. The first knot that we'll do is the lark's head knot. I cut 2 cords about 36 inches long. I will fold the cord in half and stick the loop under the stick. Bring that loop around to the front, and then you can pull the rest of the cord through the loop. Then pull it tight. Here's what the knot looks like on the other side, so you can decide which side you like better for your project. I will also show you what I think of as the backwards way, but it might be the regular way, that makes this side of the knot. I'll start again by folding my cord in half, and then this time I'll put the loop over the stick so it sticks out underneath, and then pull the rest of the cord through that loop and pull it tight. So here are both sides again. I think I'll choose this side to be in the front. I'll push my cords together so they're snug but not too tight, and then they're ready to go. Now that we have some cords attached, let's make square knots. I like to tape the stick down so it doesn't move all around while I'm making knots. You know, these cords are all looking the same. Let's see what we can do about that. There we go. Hopefully this will make it easier to see where the cords are going. The pink and blue cords are the working cords, while the yellow ones are basically filler. We'll be tying our square knots around them. You can tape them down to keep them in place. Great. Now here is how I make a square knot. I'm sure other people do it differently, but this way works for me. Take the right hand cord, in this case the blue one, and put it under the yellow ones in the middle and over the pink on the left. Then you take the left hand pink cord and bring it over the yellow and under the blue on the right through the little loop it makes. Now you pull that knot nice and tight. This is also called a half square knot, and if you repeat it, it makes a spiral, but we'll get to that next. For the second step of the square knot, you basically do the first step, but backwards. So grab the new left hand cord, which is now the blue one, and put it under the yellow middle cords and over the right hand pink cord. Then the pink cord will go over the yellows and under the blue through the loop. Tighten it up, and you have one whole square knot. You might notice that these 2 pink cords in the middle of the knot form a kind of V that points to the left. That is how I know if I've completed the whole 2 steps if I get distracted in the middle, which is always. And here it is again for your square knot viewing pleasure. Let's zip through the rest so we can see what a whole sinnet looks like. That is when you do a bunch of knots in a strip. I think it's cool that all the cords in the middle of the knots are pink and you only see the blue ones at the edges. And that's about all the knots that I can fit. Let's measure. We started out with each cord being about 18 inches long after we made our lark's head knots, and our sinnet is about 3.5 inches long. That is why I have a hard time cutting the right amount of cord. It looks like these square knots need a cord about 5 times as long as what you want to end up with. Next, we might as well make some spiral knots. Just like before, we have the same working cords and filler. We'll start with the blue cord on the right and put it under the middle yellow cords and over the pink cord on the left. Then the pink will go over the yellow and under the blue through that loop. Tighten up the knot, and that's the whole thing. Let's do another. Once again, we'll start on the right, and this time the pink cord is on the right. Go under the yellow and over the blue, and then bring the blue cord over the yellow and under the pink through the loop and pull it tight. That's it. Just keep repeating that same knot over and over. This time, you can see that the blue and pink are now alternating in the middle section, and the whole knotted section starts to spiral towards the right. You can get it to spiral left by starting with the left-hand cord each time. Basically doing the second half of a square knot over and over instead of the first half. There! I got one full spiral out of these cords. Now, if we measure this, it looks like we get about 3 inches of spiral. That is not a lot. I feel like spiral knots use a lot of cord. It looks like you'd need about 6 times the length of cord that you want to end up with. How about a wrap knot at the end of that spiral? My purple cord here is about 27 inches long, but I'm probably not going to need all of it. To make the wrap knot, I will start by folding one end of my cord a little bit longer than I want my knot to end up. I want my loop to stick out at the top and the short end to stick out at the bottom. There. The top of the loop sticks out far enough up here, so I'll start to wrap the long end of my cord around the whole bundle, starting here at the bottom, and work my way up. I find it a little tough to get the initial wrapping tight enough, but that gets easier with practice. I'll finish my wrapping when I reach almost the top of the loop, but not quite. Stick the rest of your wrapping cord through the loop and make sure it's pretty snug. Now, if you pull the short cord at the bottom, the loop will tighten up at the top and pull the wrap cord into the middle of the knot. Finally, you can trim the excess lengths that are sticking out, and your knot is finished. I ended up using probably about 20 inches of the cord and got a wrap about 1.25 inches long. So if you want a really long wrap, just use more cord. Next, I will expand on what we already learned and make alternating square knots. This time, I'll attach 4 cords to the stick. Once again, each cord is 36 inches long, and I'll fold them in half to attach them. Like usual, I'll use lark's head knots to attach each cord, and I'll tape the stick down and squish the knots together. Now I have 8 cords hanging down, so I can make 2 square knots across. I'll move the right-hand set of 4 out of the way and make the left-hand knot first. But you can do it the other way if you want. Just like before, I use 2 working cords and 2 filler cords in the middle. Starting with the right, under, over, and then the left, over, under. That's step 1. Then the left goes under, over, and the right over, under, and tighten it up to finish step 2. Great, that's one square knot. I'll get those cords out of the way and then do my second square knot on the right. First step. And second step. For the next row, we'll have one square knot in the middle. So we can move the two cords on the outsides out of the way and just use these four cords in the middle. The two filler cords for this knot were working cords in the knot above. And we'll do this square knot the same as all the others. After that, you end up with kind of a chevron shape. That might be what you're going for, or you can keep alternating for a few more rows. That's what I'll do, just a few more rows alternating between 1 and 2 knots, and I'll stop at the 1 knot row so I can use that chevron shape to make diagonal half-hitch knots. Yay! There are also horizontal half-hitch knots, but really the only difference is instead of keeping your cord at an angle, you make it straight across. So I'm going to just show you one, and let's do it now. See, we'll use this angle we've already made with the square knots and do our half-hitch knots along here. But first, let's differentiate these cords. Oh, much better. Sadly, they won't be this nice of a rainbow for long. I will start on the left and then work on the right side. The red cord, since it is furthest to the left, will be my first support cord. I will tape it in place over here. Now, I'll make my first half-hitch knot with the orange cord. I wrap it up over the red and slide it through toward the left, over the orange. To complete the knot, you do the same thing again. The first step only really wraps the cord, and the second step ties the knot. Pull it nice and tight so there's not a lot of gap, but make sure you keep the red cord nice and straight. Now I'll keep going on this side, tying knots with the yellow and green cords. This will bring us to the middle, so we stop here and switch to the right side. Now, the black cord will be the support for these knots. The knots on this side are really almost the same as the ones we just did, except they wrap up and around the black cord and then over to the right. Keep going again until you reach the middle. The last knot you tie is with the red cord, which was your filler on the left. Ta-da! Now I'll make a few more rows just to see how they all look together. My shortest cord was about 10 inches long when I started these half-hitch knots, and I got 3 rows out of it for a grand total of about an inch. So these also use quite a bit of cord. But they're cool. Something interesting you can do with these little gaps at the ends of your rows is attach short cords with lark's head knots. You can leave them like spiky cords or unravel them into a fluffier fringe. Like this. You could could probably unravel these teeny tiny threads too, but that just seems like a snarl waiting to happen. Here's another example of what you could do when you put these knots together. My scissors have chosen this moment to stop working. Thanks, guys! Ta-da! Fluffy! Maybe I can add some bright tassels and hang it on the front door. Oh, very nice. Kinda small, but I still like it. There you go. Those are the knots that I use the most often. I feel like you can combine them in a lot of different ways to make tons of different projects. Give them a try and see what you think of them. And let me know if there are any other knots that I should be working with, because I would love to learn something new. Also, remember, if you think it would be useful to have each knot have its own little short video, let me know in the comments and I will get on it. If you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you like this kind of video and you're not subscribed yet, you can do that right underneath this video here and click the all notification button so you don't miss anything. New videos come out on Tuesdays and Saturdays, so stay tuned. And until the next video, be awesome, and I'll see you then. Bye!